and this is Archive of 12. And today we are checking out Lost Relics, a Star Wars short film that came out about a year ago. Someone pointed this out to me because of the fact that I reacted to the 212th short film that someone made, I don't know, several months ago, and they were like, if you like that, you should check this out. So that's what we're doing here. I am very curious to see what this is about because I love short films. Like, I just love fan films, especially when they're made about franchises that I personally am invested in. Star Wars is one of the best, at least to me. I love all of Star Wars. There's not a single part of Star Wars that I do not like. And I am especially enthralled with clone troopers. And so fan films like this really catch my attention. I'm excited to see what this is going to be like. Link will be in the description below if you want to watch this without my commentary. So, well, I will be pausing. I will be talking about it. And also down below is a link to my Patreon. We can find longer form reaction videos to anime, basically similar to what I'm about to do here, but for things that YouTube will probably say, no, you cannot put that up. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, that's because I hovered over it. There we go.
Let's keep moving.
This is something that I want to do with Unreal. This is something I want to learn how to do, is to make this. Like, theoretically, I've taken enough video game classes to know approximately how to do something like this, but like, I haven't been able to really experiment with it, and I haven't gotten far enough along to truly understand how in-depth things like these animations and whatnot are supposed to be. And I'm sure some of this is motion captured, but like, this is something that I would love to learn how to do. If I ever can find the time to do it, I would love to learn how to create fan films like this. This looks so good. Already 30 seconds in, with the way that the characters are moving, they don't look janky, they don't look like stiff. There might be maybe a little clipping issues every once in a while, or potentially a little stuttering, but like, it's so unnoticeable that I don't think that you can truly like hammer that down as being a problem, you know? So I thoroughly enjoy the way that this is already looking, and I am excited to see what they're doing with this because it looks so gorgeous. Hold on, I'm gonna check to see. I know it says HD down here, but I just want to make sure we are watching this in the best quality possible. There we go. Like this.
All right back there. All clear. Just get me out of this blasted rainforest. Second that, brother.
I find it funny because it says it's 6 months after Order 66, but all the clone troopers are still wearing like their colored armor. I imagine that each one probably has minor detail differences so that they're not identical, so that way you can tell apart which character, but theoretically they should all be donning like the stark white armor, no customization or battalion colors.
Commander, that looks like the entrance to the hidden temple. Go be that. I'll take point.
Yeah, see, the commander has like a gray chin where everybody else has yellow. So things like that, like, I'm sure that that's the exact reason why, but they could have easily just stuck a shoulder pauldron on him, like one of the colored pauldrons. And I feel like that would have been enough to denote rank.
Intruders, on me.
The holocron? Yeah, Jedi holocron. Okay.
Losing power. Commander. What was that? Taking out.
Holy crap! There's okay, for one, fantastic flowing motions. That was phenomenal. Two, however, while I may not necessarily be photosensitive, I feel like they probably should have had a trigger warning for photosensitivity on this, just in case someone does have issues with that kind of thing. So for whoever developed this, hold on, let me see who this is. KRYPTIK. I suggest next time, if you decide to do something like this where it's like solid black with like flashing lights and stuff like that, you might want to put a flashing lights warning at the beginning of your video, just so that way people know, especially if they are like epileptic or photosensitive, like they should be aware that that's probably going to happen. However, I will say the animation was really cool. Seeing the Jedi run up the walls and do all those backflips and like that, the animation was smooth.
This is General Baylan's skull.
Oh.
This holocron may be my last as a Jedi. The Order has fallen, and my faith in the Council along with it. My destiny lies outside the fractured Jedi Order. I'll safeguard those attuned to the Force, but the light side is no longer my chosen path.
Interesting. Interesting. I was not expecting that to be a video. I wasn't expecting that to be a holocron from Baylan's skull of all characters. I like that a lot. I like that little touch. That's a fun little detail. The way that entire video played out felt very smooth. I do think, however, that like the darkness played a very big role in trying to like amp up the potential horror that the clones were facing, but I do believe that without that dark, it would have been more interesting to see exactly like what kind of animations could have been done. I feel like the darkness, it allowed a little bit of a shortcut to be able to do enough animations to show the Jedi being a badass without having to fully animate all of those scenes. It's a clever little trick. However, I do kind of wish we had like a night vision mode. The clone troopers should potentially have a night vision mode in their helmets. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like they should. It's possible that they don't. I don't remember. Maybe that's a special attachment that those ones didn't have since they had the flashlights on the guns. But I do feel like they should have. We as the viewer should have been able to see through the darkness. Just a little bit. But it did add a specific element of like horror. It reminds me of a fan film I watched a couple of years ago, that featured like a bunch of clones being attacked and slaughtered by General Grievous, which they made Grievous into a straight up nightmare fuel horror movie villain. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And I mean, if you guys want me to show it to you, I'd be more than happy to, but I've already seen it. So it's not really going to be a reaction, more like a review or something like that. But I thought that particular fan film did a really good job of like allowing us to not see everything, but also giving us a very specific and like horrific viewpoint of the clone troopers' perspectives. I would have liked to have seen just a tiny bit of ambient light so that we could have seen the clone troopers in the darkness prior to the Jedi. You know, just like the viewers' eyes were adjusted, so we could see the clone troopers as they're looking around before the Jedi attacked. You know, stuff like that. I think that would have like added a little bit to it, but that's just me. I also could have used a little bit more of the clone troopers like talking like having them communicate with each other during the darkness scene. I don't feel like that they communicated enough. There was not enough darkness to see hand signals, or there was too much darkness to see hand signals, and there wasn't enough like vocal communication with their closed comms. So I feel like they probably should have added a little bit of some extra voice lines during that scene to convey that the troopers were panicking, instead of just having the heavy breathing and like panting and only having them cry out when the lightsabers turned on. But that, and I would have liked to have seen some of the clone troopers like start to panic and start like shooting off, giving us a little bit of extra light in between the lightsaber flashes. If I was going to change anything, I think those would be the changes I'd made. But in terms of like the way the video overall was animated and the cinematography and stuff like that was really, really well done. I do enjoy how they were able to make the clones feel real while they were in the jungle. I liked the hesitation that the commander had when the moon started like getting covered by clouds, even though I knew that the commander couldn't see that because they were in the cave. It felt like he could sense that something was wrong. And I like that little touch. And then finding out that it was Balin Skull's holocron. I feel like that there should be more to that story. That could be the beginning of like a series here, a series of short films. I'll have to take a bigger, closer look at KRYPTIK's like catalog to see if maybe he's continued on that story. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for joining me. I am Arkoff12, and I will see you in the next video.